Okay, love that. And what was your name again?
I'm Anxiety. I'm one of Riley's new emotions, and we are just super jazzed.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Envy.
Okay, who's this guy?
What's your name, big fella?
That's embarrassment, but he's a really sweet guy. So looking forward to working with you guys.
What do you think you're doing?
You just aren't what she needs anymore, Joy.
You can't just bottle us up.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Inside Out 2 continues the story of the first movie 2 years later, where Riley is about to enter high school and encounters her new emotions.
Surprise, surprise, motherfucker!
Which then leads to a battle for control over Riley's sense of self. And this movie is already turning out to be one of the biggest success stories of the year, which is exactly what Pixar needed based on their last couple of films. And whether you think Turning Red or Lightyear is good or not is a whole other conversation, but what I'm trying to say is that those movies didn't impact the world the way the early Pixar films did, or what I like to call the golden age in animation. And make no mistake, there have been many golden ages in animation, such as early Disney with Snow White, Pinocchio, etc., and DreamWorks with Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, or How to Train Your Dragon. But the greatest golden age in animation was the one I grew up in, which was the early Pixar days. I'm talking Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles. I mean, those are some of the best animated movies in history, and the Pixar movies of nowadays don't seem to have that same magical effect that those older films had. Until this movie. Inside Out 2 is a pretty exceptional film for several reasons. The animation is amazing, the jokes are funny and clever. It feels like a Pixar movie when Pixar was at its best. And overall, this movie is just an hour and 36 minutes of amusing entertainment to distract you from, well, everything else. However, the most incredible aspect of this movie is that it works for all types of audiences, not just the younger one. I'm 25 years old. I'm an adult man.
How old are you?
I'm 36. I'm an adult male. I am.
I have a degree, for God's sakes. I by no means should be buying a ticket to go see a kids movie about emotions. That's gay! But in fact, it's not. No matter who you are, you can get invested in this movie because the characters and story are relatable. You can identify with Riley going through puberty because everyone has gone through puberty. You can probably understand feeling awkward during high school and wanting to fit in because everyone goes to high school and feels weird growing up. These are just natural progressions in life that everyone has to go through, which allows the movie to resonate with a large audience, and that is one of Pixar's cheat code formulas for success. You see, altogether, Inside Out 2's narrative structure is very similar to many other Pixar animations. That structure can include things that don't work for all movies, but it also contains the cheat code formulas that I was talking about earlier that all movies can benefit from. Things that can make your film go from regular entertainment to magical experience entertainment that feels creative and even adults can enjoy. So today, let's explore the Pixar cheat codes that they use to make some of the most memorable animated motion pictures of our time. The first cheat code formula used here in the beginning to get you on board the journey is that it's the protagonist's inner flaw that sets the plot in motion. Riley is just a normal teen going through puberty who wants to fit in. The problem is, her new emotions lead her to make decisions she usually wouldn't when she had her sense of self. That essentially is the character-defining flaw of Riley. Her new emotions make her obsessed with fitting in with the cool girls of the hockey team, no matter the cost. Whether that's ignoring her real friends at practice, or whether that's changing her personality at a party to match those of the cool girls, just so that she feels like she belongs. And what ends up happening is that this character flaw of Riley, aka puberty, aka her new emotions, aka anxiety, incites struggle in a way that begins the plot. Anxiety, one of Riley's new emotions, takes over by getting rid of her old emotions as well as throwing away her sense of self, and as a result, the adventure begins. So yeah, Joy and the other old emotions must escape from being suppressed so that they can find Riley's sense of self again and take back control. In essence, Joy and the other emotions must rescue Riley from the mess she put herself in with her new emotions. It's Riley's own flaw that has set the plot in motion, which in all fairness is a character flaw that we all go through. And the reason why that's so crucial is because it automatically makes Riley's journey feel that much more important. For example, let's say Riley's actions had nothing to do with puberty. Let's say she's a late bloomer and the movie is just about her being a jerk to her friends and wanting to be popular in high school. Would the movie still work? Sure it would, but not to the same extent. Kids who just want to watch an entertaining cartoon on the big screen will probably still enjoy it. But the more mature audiences who don't automatically care about the characters on screen would probably have a tougher time investing in the story. However, something that every single member of the audience can relate to, regardless of their background, is the fact that cleaning up one's own mess is always the most impactful, especially when it's a mess relating to emotions from puberty, which is also something everyone can relate to.
Somebody please just tell me it gets better.
Everybody has felt anxiety at some point in their life, and maybe you said or did something you regretted because you were stressed out and not thinking straight. That's exactly what is happening to Riley. She is responsible for the situation that she's in, so it's extremely important for us to see her make it right. She's not a bad person, we're still rooting for her. We know she only ever had good intentions. She just wanted to have a good future by having friends and being a part of a team. It's just that she can't yet see past this fault in her own character. This is something that every writer should do in their work because it naturally increases investment in the character and makes your protagonist an active character in the story rather than a passive character being pushed by the plot. The creativity then comes in when trying to find a fresh and organic way of doing it. Whether that's Woody's jealous flaw of wanting to be Andy's favorite toy that makes him accidentally knock Buzz Lightyear out of the window, or whether that's Marlin's controlling flaw of wanting to protect his son, which pushes Nemo to rebel and touch the butt.
He touched the butt.
The key here is that your character's flaw comes out of their overwhelming desire. It's a good thing that Riley wants to make new friends. It's a good thing that she wants to be a part of a group. It's just that she's taken it a bit too far. Therefore, Riley must now make a choice on how to deal with her new reality. There is a morally correct path to take, a healthy, responsible choice, or an immoral path to take where an unhealthy and irresponsible choice awaits. And just keep in mind that if your protagonist chooses to do the right thing, then you don't have a story. Marlin's overwhelming desire in Finding Nemo is to protect his son since he suffered the trauma of losing all of his other kids. However, the unhealthy decision for Marlin is to be excessively protective over his son, and that irresponsible choice makes Nemo feel the urge to prove himself and demonstrate his abilities, which then leads him to getting caught by the divers, which begins Marlin's journey to rescue Nemo, and then you're off into your second act. Our personal mess will always seem more significant to us than another person's mess because we are responsible for it. Saving your son will always feel more impactful when you know that you carry responsibility on some level for the peril that he's been currently put in. That's a great way to create investment for the journey. The second cheat code formula used in this movie are the sequel commandments, which are continuation, escalation, and dynamic evolution. Without these key components, you don't have a good sequel, not even if the movie is good on its own. So here's how to sequel. The first key component here is that the struggles and endeavors of the first movie continue to be the new difficulties and hardships of the second movie. For example, the defining objective of Inside Out is to navigate Riley's complex emotions in a healthy way during a pivotal moment in her life. She is moving to a different state for her father's new job. And now, since they've achieved that in the first movie, that's not just then suddenly disregarded in the following movie. It's not like, well, now they know how to navigate Riley's emotions in a healthy way, so we don't ever have to worry about her mental state again. No, those aspects of the movie have been given a new defining meaning. For instance, now that Joy understands that Riley needs a balance of happy and sad emotions, they've since created this new section in her mind called Sense of Self, which houses memories and feelings that make up Riley's core personality. Essentially, the defining obstacles of the second movie can only exist due to the defining obstacles in the original movie. If Riley's emotions didn't create her new sense of self, then anxiety would have nothing to overthrow. Another example of this would be Riley's passion for hockey, which is a big part of her identity in the first movie. Therefore, they don't just make Riley pick up another hobby in the sequel, as if hockey was never important to her. Instead, they use Riley's hobby as a pivotal part of the plot. Riley desperately wants to be a part of the hockey team to look cool and fit in, which then creates character-defining moments in the story. Like when she has to make a choice of sneaking into the coach's office behind their back in order to see what the coach thinks about her. This is a critical choice she has to make. Does she do the right thing and not sneak into the coach's office and rely on her hard work and dedication to the team? Or does she go behind coach's back and look at her notes to gain an advantage? This is how you continue to use elements of the first movie in an enhanced manner in the second movie. Hockey is not just a sport Riley plays in the background of the sequel. No, it's actually used as a way to set up crucial moments in the story for our main character. In order for the second movie to work, the first movie has to work within it. The second sequel commandment here is that everything is amplified to feel bigger than before. This is important to make the movie feel like a step up rather than a step down. For example, the opposing force to joy in the first movie was sadness, whereas in the second movie it's anxiety. A brand new emotion that's not necessarily more powerful, but certainly more prevalent at the moment, since she can make Riley act out of character and literally suffer panic attacks. Sadness was never able to make Riley tense up the way anxiety does, and sadness would have never been able to take over the entire panel of Riley's mind and lock up the other emotions. So yeah, we're onto something here because it feels like we've upgraded in every way the opposing force of the first movie, since I can't technically call them villain or antagonist. In other words, the basic power level in Inside Out 2 feels stronger than the original movie. The third and final sequel commandment here is that the relationship dynamics between the characters are transformed into new versions of themselves to make them feel new and three-dimensional. For example, in the first movie, the emotions at play were joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. In the sequel, we get introduced to 4 new emotions: anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. Now, the interactions between the characters feel fresh since there are new characters to interact with. There are new dynamics to learn, such as the power struggle between joy and anxiety. Nothing feels old or repetitive. As another example to explain this more, look at the relationship between joy and sadness in the first movie. It was about joy getting to understand sadness' importance in the picture, whereas this time the relationship has evolved into another version of itself where joy actually trusts sadness and they work together. It's the same characters as last time, but it's like version 2.0 of their relationship. Hello everyone, and thank you for making it this far into the video. I know I usually make content geared towards horror movies, but every now and then after watching so many horror movies, I need to lighten up the mood and watch an animated film or a comedy just to refresh my mental state, you know what I mean? Because after seeing
death after death after death and monster and demon and nightmare, you're just like,
it takes a toll on you. So I like to watch rom-coms every now and then and DreamWorks movies, and Pixar has a special place in my heart, so I definitely think this is the best animated movie I've seen since Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So I felt compelled to make this video. I truly enjoyed my experience watching Inside Out 2. It was amazing. I still have the ticket right there if you can see. But yeah, I think it's my favorite movie of the year so far. It'll be a tough one to beat. I mean, it's that good. But let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoyed Inside Out 2. Do you think it's one of Pixar's better films? Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and also let me know down in the comments if you like this style of video, because I have a complete separate video about Insidious in this exact same format. So if you enjoy this, let me know down in the comments and if you want to see that video. And if you guys are still here and if you want to support me further, check out my Patreon. I have a ton of separate exclusive content on there, movie reviews. You can text with me and chat with me directly, and it truly helps me out a lot. I really appreciate it, and you can get tiers as low as $3 a month. So if you want to support me, go ahead and check out my Patreon. The link will be in the description. And other than that, I will catch you guys on the next video. Ciao.